Hello, Global Theater. My name is Jerry Pielka. Today's August 16, 2025. Want to thank Rob Grant and his amazing podcast. I'm probably wrong about everything. Please subscribe. Want to welcome today's guest, Josh Matthews. Where are you calling from, Josh?
Middle of nowhere, Iowa.
Iowa. That's where all the great writers study. What do you mean, middle of nowhere?
Well, more like in South Dakota, Minnesota, Nebraska. There's a corner right there of all four states.
In fact, I didn't want to go off topic onto cinema too fast, but you know the great Richard, what's his name? He danced in West Side Story. His feature just got restored, and he lives in Iowa. And the guy who restored it's one of the greatest, Ross Lipman. You ever see the film
Okay.
You ever see the film Not Film?
No, I know about it, but I haven't.
It's a documentary on the film by Samuel Beckett, starring Buster Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
You have to see it. The first 5 minutes is exactly what you're talking about on Man with the Movie Camera on your great podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And he cross edits Man with the Movie Camera with Buster Keaton's cameraman with newsreel footage, and it's seamless. You can't tell that it's 3 films edited together. It feels like. And the first thing Ross says is, I hate films that are about films. In his whole film is, okay, sorry to go so far off.
No, that's great.
The first, because Iowa's great. Okay, so the first question really is, what's the best thing for a human being?
The best thing for all human beings ever. Tricky question. I'm in a faith tradition that says it's to love God and serve God, but also to steward the earth, take care of the earth, create, develop in all areas of life, and to be generative. And so I'd say for almost every human, they're creative in some way. Probably most don't know it, but that is an inherent part of life that actually gives purpose and meaning, personal purpose, psychological, social, creative in some way. That could be procreative, obviously, but it could be creating anything out of gardening. I don't care what it is. So we're going to talk about that's writers or films, but yeah,
that's James Joyce. How do you make something out of nothing? That's in your words, be generative. I was almost like, well, that's almost sounds like be generous. No, be generative, because when you're generous,
Walt Whitman.
You're generous. Oh, be generative is Walt Whitman?
Oh, straight out of Walt Whitman. Yeah, Walt Whitman's like the ultimate be generative, and he means it in a biological sense as well as every other sense too. Yes. Encouraging American poets at the time, but everybody else who came after him.
Yeah. What's your favorite form of information? How it comes into you?
Oh, yeah. Me personally, it's written science fiction.
Oh my God, that is trippy. Written sci-fi. Okay, here's the trick question. Before you go into that, because you're like, that's a trick question. What's the goal? Do you know this? It's sort of a trick. What's the golden age of science fiction writing? 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or today?
Oh, wait. This is a personal opinion, or that, there's an actual golden age called the 40s and the 50s. It's the label that science fiction historians give that period of time. But if you're asking me personally, I mean, it's after that. It's not. It's not quite that period. Is that what you're saying?
Well, here's the joke, Josh.
It's the Clark, Heinlein, and Asimov period. That's the so-called golden age, right? That's
for
I don't think that myself.
Oh, okay.
I like that, but
the 40s and 50s Asimov. You're saying that's what's noted by the cultural. No, the trick question is, what's the golden age of sci-fi writing when you're a teenager?
Oh, sure.
When the reader is a teenager. So when you say your favorite form of information is written sci-fi novels, when did you start reading them?
Honestly, really, really seriously, after I finished my dissertation. my
Oh,
doctoral
so it
dissertation
wasn't. So
because
that's
I was sick. I did American literature, and I was just sick of, and that's fine. I read so much in early American literature from Columbus to 1900.
yeah.
I needed something different, and I just got into several authors. One of them is Gene Wolfe, who's one of the most greatest writers I've ever encountered. Um, and so that just blew my mind. Now I teach a science fiction class. I like science fiction film, obviously,
But you
I'm still
teach
reading it. Yeah.
you still teach literature to you teach literature too, or
Oh, I'm at a
just
small college. We teach everything. Yes,
okay. Okay.
literally everything. And I
Right.
teach everything from Gilgamesh to H.G. Wells's story, Time Machine, which is a million years in the future. That's my joke,
Yeah,
is the
that's great.
entire scope of human history plus all future events. That's me.
That's that's great. So why do you think humans collect or gather information?
Collect or gather information. I think it's probably to make sense of anything,
Yeah.
to give purpose and meaning to some extent. I am not sure if do other animals collect anything. They build stuff, but just collecting for the sake of collecting. And history seems to be important to mention of our being. To collect something is to have it the past sort of assembled in a weird motley way together in the present. And I don't know why people collect bottle caps or stamps or anything like that, other than I think part of it is a meaning making process for them, because I believe we're inherently meaning making machines. Like we're just going to do
Yeah.
that no matter what.
Really good, Josh.
Even if the situation doesn't call for it, we will try to do that.
Yeah, really, you're really smart, and I appreciate you're articulate and concise. And I know I'm going to learn a lot here. I appreciate your time because the next question is you anticipated it. Is this need or want to collect information more innate or more
Oh,
invented?
it's a nature nurture. I'm always 50-50 on nature nurture.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
like it's both, and I don't have, but I come out of literature. I have a doctorate in literature, just a humble brag, but the whole field has been inundated with social constructionism for 50, 70 years. So it's highly on the side of nurture almost completely. I like both though. I think both are absolutely necessary. I don't think you can just um, teach people to do stuff and they'll do it. I mean, you might be able to rewire somebody for a short period of time, but probably not entirely a whole society for a long period of time. So I think part of it is certainly innate to whatever collecting information means.
yeah.
Um,
That
so
was
yeah.
good. Just to be clear, you're saying social constructivism favors mainly, they say it's more nurture than nature. Is that what
Oh,
you said?
totally.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's funny because some of these questions at the beginning, is it more of this or more of that? I know it's both and it depends, but people kind of want to go, oh, it's more this. This one woman said to me, the word more doesn't function in your question. And then the student at U of M, when I was going round robin, the guy goes, well, it's both. And the other student yells out, that's a cop out. And it's like, no, it's not a cop out. But I mean, the nature nurture, I got to throw this in as a bonus is longevity in life. Just your parents still living or someone you know lived till they're 80, 90, 100. Is it more lifestyle choice or more DNA? I mean, again, do you say 50-50 or do you lean
Look,
a little?
okay, so just to tell you, I have 4 children. My wife and I had twins at one point in time, fraternal. So I got interested in the question of twins because it's
Yeah,
nature's double blind study, actually not fraternal, but um, identical twins. And so I was interested in the separated at birth identical twin studies that seem to just say everything is, or give the feel everything is nature, because you separate kids at birth who are the same, and they end up doing not just having the same jobs, but the same wife with the same name and the
yeah,
same income stream, all this wacky stuff
yeah,
that indicates nature. But like, I don't know, the question's way greater than what we understand right now, in my opinion. I
yeah.
like it needs to be hundreds of years of study. in
Yeah.
order to really figure this out to a decent extent.
Yeah. No, that was good. So, do thoughts create emotions?
Thoughts create emotions. Well, I encourage everybody to try. Again, another deep dive of mine was going into the power of positive thinking at one point to see if I could manufacture happiness out of sadness, or just to talk myself or think myself into good behavior and good feelings. And nah, I don't think so. I
Ah,
mean, not
you
for
mean
me.
do
I
you
mean,
mean
Norman
Dale
Vincent Peale,
Carnegie?
it's so happy
Yeah,
happy stuff, but
but you mean
I think.
Dale? Do you mean Dale Carnegie? Positive
Oh,
power,
well, something like that. That's it's a probably a pseudo
pop
pop science
culture
thing
thing.
from the 50s.
Yeah,
But that sort of thing was what I thought of initially when you said that, because
yeah,
can I create my own reality
yeah,
and how the way I feel?
yeah,
I probably you can by thought, but probably
yeah,
more it's more like the unconscious is such a key part of us that if you
yeah,
don't involve that, I don't see how you can really sustainably create good emotions. So maybe it's prayer, meditation, or
yeah,
maybe it's like walking around in nature, something like that's going to involve the unconscious mind more and
yeah.
change emotions more, in my opinion. I
Yeah,
think
really good. Because I'm a Pollyanna. I always have positive. Raised with parents, think positive,
for
and
sure.
people go, "You're a Pollyanna." I says, "Okay, that's all right." But William Blake nailed it. He says, "We become what we behold."
Hmm.
So, and I
Yeah.
think, I mean, if you look, accent the positive. So, anyways, so fill in the blank, Josh. I don't know what I think until I.
Okay. I think there are three answers, but the third is going to be the most potent for me. One is research, doing a lot of research, seeing what other people say, seeing the investigative studies, etc. Very rigorous. Another one is to write. I think I half the time or more writing movie reviews, I don't even really know exactly what I'm saying or
Yeah,
feeling until I can solidify it some way. And I'm like halfway through writing something, I'm kind of
yeah.
there with my thoughts. But the real truth, this is the third answer, is teaching, because
Oh, that's
after
good.
you teach something, not just one time, you need many, many test audiences, and every single classroom, every single group of people is a different social creature, and you're constantly testing your thoughts out against different social creatures like that. Over 10, 20 years, I haven't hit 20 yet, but boy, I think a lot differently now than I once did. Some of that
Oh,
is just like cognitive, but psychological about myself and other people too. So
the
I think again,
relationship, amazing.
I think to know anything, you need to try to teach it.
Yeah,
Like that's how where you really learn is when you teach.
yeah. I really like that because McLuhan says, "I don't know what I think until I say it." Joan Didion says, "I don't know what I think until I write it." I'm gonna send
Okay.
you a copy of my I will send you a copy of my book. I say, "I don't know what I think until I ask someone else what they think so I can figure out what I think." But
Oh,
this
sure.
woman said recently, "I don't know what I think until I rant about it for 30 minutes." So, I mean, research is really that's a key. Until you research. I mean, come on. But in writing film reviews, I gotta insert another bonus. How do you rate Manny Farber and Pauline Kael as film reviewers? Have you read both of them much?
I haven't read Farber very much, so
But you've
I
read,
should probably not refrain from commenting on her too much. But
yeah,
Pauline Kael, I read a lot of Pauline Kael, and she
lot.
and I are. I feel like okay, the writer who I feel an alien toward, like he's an alien, is Henry James. I have nothing in common with the guy. I
Yeah,
have no idea what he's talking about as far as the worlds he's creating. I feel like Pauline Kael is a little bit in that world, growing up or inhabiting in
right.
New York City. I have been in Midwestern Nowheresville all my life. Usually, whenever she says something, I'm going to think the opposite. And it's not a political thing for me. It's
Right,
just
right. No, that's fine.
my
But who,
place of origin, kind of, and sensibilities.
well,
It's
give
pretty
me
wild how opposite I am of her.
no,
Usually,
that's fine. But give me like two or three, just off the top of your head, film reviewers currently that you like. Any stand
film
out?
reviewers currently. Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
Or
Um,
no, yeah, the sense you've read film reviews. And any
I,
film reviewers you kind of like a little.
I okay. I do like Justin Chang in LA Times, Alyssa Wilkinson, who I know a little bit, tiny little bit at New York Times. Um, and is he alive? I always like reading Kurt Loder. It was
Oh,
MTV
Kurt Loder's so
DJ,
cool.
but he had
Kurt,
a good he had a really good writing style.
no,
Actually,
that's
that's
good.
what I like. It's more
Yeah,
like writing styles rather than opinions, because like
yeah,
anybody can have any opinion, but like how are they writing? Why are they liking what they're liking,
yeah.
etc. So, of course, the
No,
founder
that's
of my
good.
whole existence is Roger Ebert, who I just think is fantastic in every
Yeah,
way.
Roger Ebert was great. I asked
His
Roger.
fantastic writer, but
I asked Roger Ebert's wife at a screening of the documentary on him, like in front of all
oh, yeah.
these hotshot USC film students. I says, "What was the first date Roger took you on to see a film?" She said, "Unshawn on Delu by Bunwell and Dolly."
What?
I'm like,
Is that
wow,
a test? I
that
was like,
that to me blew my mind. It just said he's the greatest ever.
oh my
That
god.
is mind blowing. Have you seen the doc on Roger?
Yes.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it the
good.
Life Itself movie?
Yeah, it's
I read
good.
the book too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so you did that. Now, can humans think without language?
Think without language. Surely, yes. How could we? I mean, we communicate hieroglyphically through emojis and pictures, but yes, I'm sure we can. The problem is how to communicate the thinking. So that's what I was gravitating towards. Without language, is hieroglyphics language? Okay, so if we throw that away, how can you tell if something's thinking? Is a gigantic problem, obviously, with AI now and animal research. So I, I don't know. Really,
Yeah,
is the real answer? I feel like I can think, but it's like an intuition. There's an intuition part of me, kind of gets it or can visualize it or something like that. But communicating is you need language to do that.
yeah. And Josh, I do welcome people to say, I don't know. I can't answer that. And, like I said, go off on tangents. So I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to put you on the spot. Because, Rebecca Solnit nailed it. She said, just because you ask me a question doesn't mean I have to answer it. Which is a great response, because these are just prompts to get us to have dialogue. So,
The real answer to all these questions is I don't know. Maybe nobody knows.
yeah.
So let's just have fun. So it's just fun.
But that's it, where we can have fun doing that. Actually, John Cage said it best. They asked him a question. He goes, "That's a very good question. I wouldn't want to ruin it with an answer." So here's Chomsky says language is not just words. It's a culture, it's a tradition, a unification of community, a whole history that creates what a community is. What do you do when language doesn't work? When language breaks down, what do you do?
Okay. I think in language is always going to fail a little bit. It's always a slippery. It's always slippery. So I have myself, but I'm only in my own body. You're in your own body. Everybody's in their own bodies. It's hard to know exactly what's going on with us. Language is a social construct in part, and it's trying to connect us. But can we really understand what the other person's saying entirely? Of course, I'm channeling postmodernism to some extent when I say this, but it's always a little slippery, a little performative, and it has a failure. Yet, in order to communicate, we have to have trust in each other.
Yeah.
So I think I, I don't think it always fails, but I don't think it always succeeds. That's where it's so fun to be in the arts with language, because artists have tons of fun with that slipperiness of it, both success and
That's
failure of what it does.
yeah, that's the resonating interval. Like, do
Yeah,
you get
it's
me? I
great.
mean, that's what, as a teacher or a book writer, do you understand? And T.S. Eliot said poetry can communicate before it's understood. And I mean, that's the thing about
Mm,
a
yeah.
lot of this. But I mean, you're at the store and you're talking with the clerk and communication breaks down. What do you do?
Oh, how would communication break down to the store? I have to think about that one.
or with
Yes,
your
but
wife, or with your kids, or your wife. If some
yeah,
communication breaks down, what do you do?
then you probably leave them and come back later.
Yeah, dude,
I
that's
mean, time
amazing.
heals all wounds until
Time
failure.
heals all
So
wounds. That's amazing because this woman who made a great documentary, it's free on YouTube. If you're into jazz, it's called Girls in the Band. It's the history of women in jazz.
oh, okay.
It's really good. I says, what do you do when communication breaks down? She goes, move. Because she's based in dance. So a lot of times people say gesture or whatever,
See,
people,
but I think language is gesture too.
yeah,
Speaking to you, it's less so, but it's still like
yeah,
80%, 90% communication is like my face and moving around and voice
exactly.
inflections and all that.
Yep.
So that's inherent to it.
Yeah. Your observations of humans in general, are we more feeling beings or more thinking beings?
Oh gosh. I mean, it's so clear it's feeling. You can turn your
Wow,
brain off
that's
rationally. Feeling, I mean, all the creatures out there have some feeling or demonstration of feeling at
yeah,
least. And then there's no moment in life where you're not feeling something. I suppose if you are not feeling something, you're probably psychopathic. I mean,
yeah,
if you don't have a feelings for other people. I think every moment has a feeling component to it. And even the most stoic guys who think they don't have feelings actually do. Um, there's no doubt about it to me. Every moment is a feeling sensation moment.
yeah. It's funny because again, it's a 50-50. It's hard to separate
Yeah.
feeling from thinking, but we invented the word, so we think we can separate them.
Yeah.
And Bridget Bardot says, when I make love, I don't think. And I'm like, good luck. How do you turn your brain off? Or people who meditate go think about not thinking. And lastly, there's a bumper sticker on my street on a car and it says, don't believe everything you think. And I like, well, you could say, don't believe everything you feel.
Mm, sure. Here's a 3 a.m. college question for you. How do you know that what I'm feeling when I say I'm sad is the same as what you feel when you're sad?
Right.
There's no way
Yeah.
to test that out. We're just trusting each other ultimately, in my opinion.
Yeah. Your trust word reminds me of back to T.S. Eliot saying, when I talk to you, I've got to use words. And
Yeah.
it's not true. You don't have to use words, but there's a combination of feeling, language, gesture. There's so many things like you already. So here's two from Alan Turing in the 50s. One, is thinking a function of the soul?
Alan Turing believed in the soul. What is the soul? I hear that word. It's like democracy, or I don't know, like these generic catch-all words. I don't know what they mean all the
Yeah.
time. The soul, probably you need to have a. What do you think of the soul is?
Well, I would say it's like Lily Tomlin saying a reality is a collective hunch. So we kind of have a hunch what soul is in a general sense, like if we looked it up in the dictionary. So it's sort of like, I think he's saying, is it a function of the soul or the mind? Now, people say,
Mm,
well, no, thinking's a function of the mind. Well, no, it is a function of the soul exclusive of the mind or with the mind? I don't know, and I take these Turing and some of these people's questions out of context. This one guy told me, dude, you took that out of context. And he explained the whole, I just collect cute questions, and where I got a lot of my questions from Christine McKenna, who did all these major interviews with uh, David Lynch early in his career.
oh,
And I just go, oh, that's good. And then I flipped him and asked her. So, I have that right. I can take it out of context, but it is an interesting thing because most people answer it. What do you mean by the soul? And some people
oh,
answer, what do you mean by thinking?
yeah. But
But
the easiest explanation, which is always tempting for me, but I don't believe it, is pure materialism. Like thinking is a function of the brain, which is an organism.
yeah,
Chemicals, proteins, etc. It's simple, it's efficient, it's
yeah,
nice. It sounds good. It
yeah.
just doesn't. Boy, it's not very fun. And, I mean, you're really staring into the abyss if you believe in pure materialism. If you, if
Yeah,
you think about it enough.
I really like, Josh, that you've emphasized the word fun so much, because that's what we're here for, to have fun. So the second Turing question is, can machines think?
Oh, I don't think so. Because see,
Yeah,
I think it's part. I think there's a biological chemical component to that.
yeah,
As far as so far as we know, and machines did not evolve over a long period of time. Everything that we've got, they can simulate, but I don't think they will be able to. Actually, I think there's a lot of things they will fail to do completely. So
yeah,
I don't believe in the AI revolution just yet. I will be a late. It, you got to show it to me first that AI can love and AI can care for your babies and whatever you want it to do. I don't think so.
yeah,
Is because of that they don't have a reason to care, which is that innate need to survive and innate need to care for other people, empathy inherently and all that. They will not have that. They might be programmed with it to simulate it, but I'm not sure that they will ever get there.
yeah. I love your word simulate, because it reminds me of, in the Black Lives Matter movement, I saw a kid with a T-shirt. It said, "The Matrix was a documentary." And so now I'm going to say to you, 2001 was a documentary, Josh. The Hal had feelings. So if you put it in a movie, it's
Yeah.
true.
Hal just, I always show that in class, and you get like a quarter of the kids, a third of them going, "How does it feel anything? It's all fake. It's programmed."
A
Because
third of the
everything,
kids say that.
easily a third, if not more. There's a lot of at least
And
where I
then
am, it's skepticism about that. Yeah.
and then the other two-thirds think what?
Yeah, maybe it actually feels something and then it's really getting paranoid and then it's acting on its need to survive to preserve itself and killing off the astronauts there. Sorry, spoiler alert, but anyway. Um, yeah, I don't know if even this the third two-thirds. Sometimes it's half and half. There's a
Wow.
lot of AI skepticism where I am amongst the kids today, even though they use it to cheat on their homework. But, but yes, Hal is fake. It's not real. Nothing there
Yeah.
is real.
But uh, uh, oh, I lost my train of thought. But I know. Playboy interview with Stanley Kubrick. They asked, "Why'd you make 2001?" He said, "To convolate Marshall McLuhan."
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
and
didn't know
it's
that.
a heavy thing for him to say that, because when we get to the film questions, it's an amazing, ironic thing that he
Really?
said. But do you more
Do you
pursue?
think that's true? Can I ask you? Do you think does that square with your? I don't know McLuhan that well. I know a
Oh
section
yeah.
of my books, but
I would say it's amazing, because Stanley invited Marshall to a pre-release screening, and Marshall fell asleep after 10 minutes. But he probably woke back up. I mean, McLuhan is hard. McLuhan is hard to get. But in general, people think he said, first of all, he's a literature person just like you. He's not a
right.
he's not a media guru, but that's where he got put into. And if they said, "Josh, we'll put your picture on the cover of Newsweek if you say you're a film guru," and then you go, "Well, sure," help sell
Yeah.
my book or whatever. But he was saying the medium is the message, meaning the form and the content are two things. We pay more attention to the content, and we
Yes.
should pay attention to the form
Yeah.
too. But he emphasized by saying the medium is the message or the medium is the massage, that the form, they thought he meant the form was more important. And he wasn't. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
really saying they're both, but he would kind of deny that because he was a prankster. He was a charlatan. And Richard Schinkel's books, he wrote about 30 books on film.
Mm,
He was Time Magazine's film critic for like 30 years.
yeah.
My friends had a party with him. He died, but my friends had a party with him maybe 5 years ago. He goes, "So what do you think of McLuhan?" The dude quoted McLuhan in his books and everything. He says, "What do you think of McLuhan?" Schinkel goes, "Fraud." and then
Yeah.
he turned back to him and goes, "Semi-fraud." And he didn't get deeper discussion with him, but he's misunderstood, and that's all right, because Ryan Johnson, Knives Out, he became a filmmaker because of Marshall's 1 minute in Annie Hall. says
Oh,
that's
really? Oh, that I didn't know.
and then
Oh.
anyways, it gets a lot deeper because Ryan's first film is about Finnegan's Wake by James Joyce, and that's where Marshall got everything he knows, basically. So it gets complex, but I think Stanley was a real smart, back to your word, researcher. So he researched this, and Marshall talked about sci-fi early on, and he did what you did. He got shoved from going to Cambridge to college to St. Louis to teach kids poetry. And then they were like, we don't like poetry. So he says, okay, we'll study ads and comic books. They were like, yeah.
Right.
But he snuck it in. So do you more pursue happiness or more pursue meaning?
Oh, happiness doesn't exist. Oh, I mean, it does, but only temporarily. I only think the word happiness is happenstance. It's only like momentary, and things change the moment you get to the aha, I've arrived, or aha, I feel good, happiness moment, whatever that is. It's going to change. Hopefully not for the worse, but perhaps. So meaning, because meaning is, I needed identity like everybody else. I need to make sense of the chaos of life or whatever is coming at me, and to have a social life as well is meaning as well. So probably that can generate happiness sometimes, at least.
Yeah.
So happiness is an illusory. I don't. I mean, it can happen hopefully, but you can't count on it.
Yeah, because Josh, you got ESP. You anticipated my follow-up as always. Well, I got that question. I got that question from Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. He says happiness doesn't, meaning tends to last, and happiness doesn't tend to last.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's again a 50-50. A lot of people say meaning, a lot of people say happiness. Does the brain more detect consciousness or create it? Like, is consciousness there bubbling away, and we're more so detecting it or more so
neuroscience?
Yeah, but your hunch, yes, yeah.
Some of that hard sci-fi, materialist sci-fi is going to say consciousness is just a construct of the chemical reactions in your brain, or better think about that it might be. I went down a rabbit hole a few years ago with this one, and there's a few people out there like consciousness precedes existence, consciousness precedes materialism. I like, what do I know about this? That sounds more romantic to me, so I would pick that one if I had to pick.
Oh, that you mean that consciousness was there and then humans came in?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or you. What if this is the soul? You are consciousness first, and then the body.
Then the body
that is consciousness is coming through you somehow, or not coming from you like your brain is creating it, but coming through you somehow. You're like a vehicle for it.
Beautiful. What's faster, speed of light or speed of thought?
You want me to break the laws of physics, huh? They always tell me no, the physicists. The romantic answer is the speed of thought, isn't it? There's a fun Heinlein book, Robert Heinlein, is Time for the Stars, in which they send pairs of people out on colonial space expeditions so they can communicate, because they find out that these people have instantaneous communication between them, faster than the speed of light communication. Physicists can't figure out why. At the end of the book, they kind of figure out why and use that, but I don't know if that's based on it's 55 or so, that novel. If that's based on what's the physics, the quantum entanglement, it might be based on that or not. But the idea that particles can communicate over a space that doesn't make any sense because it's faster than light. But then you go to these physicists and go, you can't go faster than the speed of light. So what do I know? But again, the materialist explanation is, you're only going as fast as the speed of light in your brain. That's not fun. That's not the fun answer.
Fun again. You are so on my path. Fun. In fact, I love funky music, and so that's my favorite genre. And it's in the word. Words evoke more than their meaning. Fun is the key. Funky. It's right there. But since you know so much about sci-fi,
that's a Joycean thing. I know you're a Joyce guy.
Oh,
that
yeah,
like
it's
straight
totally
out of his book.
Yeah, it is. This is a bonus side question because you know sci-fi. Both Phil Lesh of the Grateful Dead and Frank Zappa said their favorite book was More Than Human by Theodore Sturgeon. Have you ever read that? Have you
Oh,
ever read that? Or have you read any Sturgeon?
yes, I have. In fact, I quote the Sturgeon line all the time. Uh, just so you know that maybe you haven't heard this one, which is I love this one. It's like he was told that most science fiction is crap, right? And this is the 50s, 40s or 50s or whenever.
Yeah.
And he responds, "Well, 90% of everything is crap."
Right.
By which he meant, everything is done mediocrely or worse in all
Yeah.
areas of life. But that does mean science fiction has good 10% to it. But I just quote that all the time because
Oh, it's great. And if you ever dig into More Than Human, let me know. Or
what's the plot of that? I'm offhand.
I don't know. I never read it. I can't even read. If there was a movie, I could tell you. But I'm saying, if you ever, but here's the other one. I forgot I had another sci-fi question. The book Stranger in a Strange. No, that's Highland. No, what's the movie David Bowie's in?
The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Okay, The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Is that the one you're
Yes.
an alien?
Mm-hmm. It's the alien Man Who Fell to Earth. Nicholas Roeg directed it. In the book.
Oh, you know the book. Walter Tevis. He's a fantastic writer.
I don't know the book. I know that it was based on a book. In the book, the question is the protagonist, who's played by Bowie, watching 18 TVs at once? Is that like detailed in the book, or did they just put that in the movie? Again,
that detail I don't remember. I don't, probably though, because the character's a super smart yet dying creature, basically Superman dying. And he's trying to get back off the planet onto his own by advancing Earth civilization. Can he do it in time before he dies on Earth? But that's a great image though, isn't it? Because
it's a great image, and you ever find that out, let me know, because I'm always trying to get people. Could you read that book and see if it's in there? Because here's the thing, we watch multiple screens, and that's all we do now. And I have
multiple screens right now. Look at us. Screen.
I know. And you go in your car and you drive, and it's multiple screens. You're looking at a map. It's everything is multiple screens. But back then, no one was watching two TVs at once, except Elvis and Nixon watched more than one TV.
No.
Which, yes, and when I saw and we saw it in art, like Nam June Paik and whatever. But here's the thing, again, going off on a literate tangent, my friend mentor Mary Jane Schultz was an advisor to McLuhan, Norman Mailer, Ivan Illich. She was just a housewife teacher in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and she got in this slew of teaching them about feminism and important things, and she invented a word called splitteracy, that when we invented printed word, we split our brains. And spoken word, so it was she was always thinking, but she eventually, she's from Iowa, she's got a writing scholarship from like Cosmopolitan to go study in France. She was really smart, and her dad was a poet and everything. And she eventually, when I met her, she goes, "No, books suck. All you do is watch many TVs at once." She was literally saying watch several TVs at once. And this was pre-internet and obsession with screens. So everybody chalked her off as a kook, but she was amazing in that multiple screen thing and how it became a reality.
Are you sure was promoting watching multiple screens? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
this is something you should do to become more literate.
Well, no, she kind of turned on literature. I get the first time I had her speak in a bookstore in LA. Yeah, the first time I had her speak at a bookstore in LA, the poster was on the front of the window of Midnight Special Bookstore, the oldest political bookstore in the world, and it said, Mary Jane Schultz will speak on how books are obsolete. And someone called the bookstore and says, dude, you're a bookstore. What do you got a sign up that say books are obsolete?
Yeah, and Ray Bradbury is the opposite. The thing is, when I think about it, I know 1984 super duper well, the novel, and
Yeah.
he's so against writing at that moment. It's purely a propaganda medium, including the book. Within the book, Winston Smith reads, thinks he's going to get the truth, and that's just pure BS from the Big Brother government. However, the novel itself is trying to tell you the truth about the totalitarian governments that might be coming for you. So he's not dismissing the novel, even though he's dismissing writing itself. So I'm fascinated by this. I'll look her up, Mary Jane Schultz.
Oh, shit, there's not much about her. You put my name next to her because I'm the only one who wrote about her. And
it's in your book. Okay.
No, it's not really. It's not. She's not in my book, but there's podcasts I have with her. But it's when she's older and it's wacky. It's fun. But I've got a lot of interviews with her that probably aren't wacky, which are on archive.org. But anyways, we could talk more about her. But check this one out, Josh. Look at the screen. Mallarmé. Everything in the world exists to end in a book. That's pretty heavy. I mean,
that's your purpose question. Why should we? What should we be, or what should we do? We exist to be in a book.
Well, it's just a way to say, what's going to last longer, books or movies? I mean, in the long run, I don't think, dude. I have proof.
Yeah.
I dumpster dive for 40 years. I can find books that are 100 years old. Movies are 130. Oh, I wanted to show you 130 years old. Movies aren't very old, but I find 16 and 35 millimeter films sometimes. But do I have any? I give it to my archivists who have something to play it on and check what it is. But I can find thumbnails, and then are they going to be able to be played? I can find DVDs. I find VHS. But look at this as an amazing thing in Walter Murch's new book. This quote that starts the book: "Cinema is the only art whose birthday is known to us." Now, I don't quite know what he meant by that, but it is. Do you know the great? I have this great quote. It's from La Poste. It's like 1898. It's like the Time magazine or the LA Times of Paris, and the Lumières or somebody shows films for like the first time in a public setting, and the reviewer in the newspaper says, "Now we'll never die." That's pretty heavy because
I mean, they already had photography at the time where they could probably say that. I don't know.
Yeah, they're right. No, they could say that about photography. Yeah,
but yeah, I guess I kind of agree with him. Although video games, he's not counting them as art. You can track the history of the novel. The problem is it gets real fuzzy around the beginning of the 18th century. What's a novel and what's not?
Yeah,
you can see their emergence, but not quite. Here is when it happened. Where we take with films, it's photography into multiple photographs all at once, right?
But you said Gilgamesh. Is Gilgamesh the first book? Kind of.
See,
it's hard to say.
There's got to be other things that were lost to time.
Yeah.
The thing is, books are obviously here they prove themselves 2,000 years, 3,000, whatever. Depends on the codex, if you track that. But movies, I mean, first of all, the physical medium degrades much more quickly than 2,000 years. And second, I think we're still in the development stage of whatever video or visuals are. Whether that's going to be 3D holograms, like a Star Trek, projection on a holodeck or something beyond that. I think movies are just like a first step, probably, or probably the second step after photography. It's my wild guess, but I think so.
Yeah. No,
you're gonna have the meta mask. Maybe that's going to be a failure, but whatever's going to be connected to your head
Yeah.
and whatever that does for the brain, probably the neural
Well,
link, something like that.
that's heavy, Josh, because I study that deeply. It's called live cinema, and you know who's obsessed with it? Coppola. He's been
Oh,
obsessed.
sure.
But
Yeah.
that was the Benchies. They showed films in Japan and had a person stand next to the film and to explain the film. So that's live cinema. That's not, and now kids go in to see I don't know what it was, a Disney film, and they film the film on their cell phone during the film.
Right.
And that's
people
like,
watch that.
I know. I mean, that bugs the shit out of me, but it's like, that's
Well, Coppola, it's a bookmark because Coppola in the 90s did an interview. He's with Scorsese. You can find this on YouTube somewhere. And he says in the interview, like, there's only 6% of cinema has been discovered.
Yeah,
It's
good.
5 or 6%, and which is hard for anybody to believe because there are moments. I think we're in a period of time now. It's pretty stagnant visually, maybe a little sonically, but certainly visually, just a little stagnant in terms of storytelling and possibilities. But he might be right. That's a very positive read on it, but I think that could be true. And we're waiting for people to discover what is possible with it.
Yeah, that's good. That Coppola said that with Marty it's on YouTube.
I can't. Yeah, there's a 90s interview.
Anyways, if you ever find it, because I'm totally intrigued. I like Coppola, because when he returned to filmmaking, he made some cheesy film. I don't know if it's cheesy, but the beginning of the film, he pans over a bed. It's about a young couple. You probably know the title. I should know the title. Pans over the bed, and there's a copy of Finnegan's Wake that you can see.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, he's awake in,
Yeah.
And he said this great line. He says, "I'm an experimental filmmaker. I got sidetracked by Hollywood." I love that line.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see Metropolis. Just really quick, this or this on Coppola's latest?
Okay, I didn't see it either. It wasn't in theaters anywhere within 2 hours of me, and I can't find it. I got to go to a pirate site to find it. Okay.
Oh my God! It doesn't stream nowhere.
It's not on Amazon or anything. So again, will movies last? Well, the streaming medium is not so great for film preservation. Not really great for it. So
you will love this. We didn't get into. I don't know your history in experimental film, but I've gone to Ann Arbor for 30 years, or went to Ann Arbor for 30 years out of 60 years. It's a film festival that's lasted a half the amount of the medium. And it's an amazing film festival. But there was a film shown there a couple of years ago, and I thought, it was just a compilation, kind of artsy, edit a bunch of clips from Hollywood films together. It was good. It's sort of like have you ever seen The Clock by Christian Marclay? You know about that?
No, I don't know that one.
Oh, you got to look up The Clock. The Clock by Christian Marclay is a 24-hour film, and it keeps time. Oh, it is. It shows in art museums. Read Zadie Smith's review of it. Anyways, I went on a sidetrack. This kid made this film. I'm sorry, I don't remember the title or his name. And he made 135 millimeter print. And he says, that's all I'm making. So every time it plays a festival, it degrades a little, and then eventually it will get trashed, or it will get, it's not playable. Bullshit. You sent a DCP or some tape to the festival to get it in. And okay, well, we destroy. They have to destroy the DCP, whatever. Kids can sit there on their cell phone and tape it off the screen. So the film's not really going to disappear. But his idea is beautiful. That I don't want to make a thing, he wants to challenge the timelessness of archives and all that. So we're next to the next one. And by the way, when you said speed of thought, here's what I usually say, Josh. There's no right or wrong answers to any of these questions, but that one you got right. I want people to say speed of thought. I think, how could it not be? We thought up the speed of light. So speed of thought is faster than speed of light.
There's no way that contemporary physicists have it all figured out. Let me put it that way. As much as I love Einstein, the speed of light probably can be broken by somebody somewhere sometime.
Audre Lorde, the poet, said, "You can't dismantle the master's house using the master's tools." Her colleague, Yvonne Rainer, said, "You can if you expose the tools." What new tool do you suggest? And it doesn't have to be tangible.
What new tool do I suggest for any purpose? Is that what you're
If
saying?
that's the thing, let me explain. I open some of my questions with cue quotes. You don't have to apply them. It's basically you put it into the context you want. So
Okay.
it can be for any purpose. Basically, what I'm saying, what tool do you most gravitate towards? But if you
What
want to
tool?
apply, yeah,
Okay.
what tool? But do you, if you want to apply it to dismantling the master's house, that's fine. Yeah.
Oh, I'm a late Gen X guy. The PC, a modifiable PC that Steve Wozniak partly designed so you can mod it. I mean, put in this card or that card. I build PCs from scratch, and then mess around with the software too. Anything that's Apple, I hate because I can't get in there and screw around with it or look at the code or something like that. So it's got to be a modifiable computer system
Wow. So
that
you're
I
saying
myself can deal with. Yes.
your tool that you most gravitate towards is the modifiable PC,
Yeah,
but
you can
that's
screw
like
around with Windows. It's not great, but as an or Linux or something like that. So
right.
yes,
Do you write code?
I know a little enough to be
You know
deadly,
about, yeah,
like,
yeah. Because
but
one of
not. I
our
don't do it
main,
for a living
yeah,
or anything like that for sure.
one of our main teachers who's way closer to your age, Clinton Ignatoff, he says, and he knows it all because he studies McLuhan and all about how he says no one knows how to take a screwdriver and take their laptop apart and fix it.
Oh, totally. You
Or your
could.
cell
It's just
phone.
real tricky. Yeah.
Yeah, or your cell
Yeah.
phone. But we grew up
Oh
with
no,
cars. Oh,
that's
you
what.
can
Yeah.
fix your car, or let's go to the
Yes.
basics. Toilet, jiggle the handle.
Yes, absolutely. Uh, and that's the creative part. Go back to my very first point. That's creativity. A
Yeah,
company makes a product that allows you to mod it to your satisfaction. That's they're giving you a gift to then change as you wish. You know, it
yeah,
starts out as this amorphous form. That's what I like. I do not like these finished products that I cannot
yeah.
mess around with.
Yeah, that goes into glitch art. Then shit
Oh yeah,
breaks,
yeah.
and then people just go, "Well, I'll make art out of the mistakes of the product." You know.
There.
But
Yes, that's good. I like
yeah,
that.
but you like the idea that we're going to give you something and you can fuck with it to make your art or as a
Well, and let me be really controversial. I want to take films and then mess with them. Now,
yeah,
I don't love I want to keep the original. So make sure you label what the original cut was or
yeah.
whatever you're doing. But there are so many movies that are ruined in my this is an opinion by the soundtracks that are dated or just
Oh
not
God,
fitting.
yes.
I mean, so many
Yeah,
bad or not great original scores.
yeah,
And people do this with silent movies in the public domain. You can create your own original score to
yeah,
them, but I think the whole of movie history needs that sort of thing done to it. And
yeah,
that's going to be like Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh was a
yeah.
original, you go back to that or Homer or whatever, the Bible, originally written, but it was edited over time. Even 1,000 years later, you go to the Chauvet cave paintings and they were painted over by
Oh,
a so art is modifiable too. And that's part of the process of perhaps making it better, at least making it different and
yeah,
for the time we live in. So I sort
yeah.
of believe in that, and I wish that would be allowed more than it is.
Yeah, no, two things because you mentioned before we started that you do like Frank Zappa a little, and one
Yeah.
thing I love is when Dweezil, Dweezil's been playing his dad's music for 15 years very well,
Yep.
and he sings Quaalude Moonlight, and I'm like, kids don't know what a Quaalude is, but you hopefully they'll call. Yeah, I used to run the Zappa hotline, and the people from Europe would call up and they goes, "What is Winchell's Donuts?"
Oh, really?
You go, what does the phrase "when the shit hits the fan" mean? It's like this sticker I found the other day. It says, "I don't need Google. My wife's boyfriend knows everything." Like, just Google it. But the other
uh,
one is, do you know the filmmaker Craig Baldwin? Do you know his film Tribulation 99?
No, I'm gonna
Okay.
look that one up
Well,
too.
put
Yep.
that on your list
Yep.
because you can watch that free. It is one of the greatest found footage films ever, if not the
Oh.
greatest. And the beautiful thing is he only needed 45 minutes. It was like then he made more features and they were all like standard 90 minutes. But
Mm,
he says, no, I can do this in 45 minutes.
yep.
And so since I asked the question tool, which you really nailed, modified PC, I added the question, what's a toy you gravitate towards? Because someone
Oh.
said, well, you asked about a tool. What about a toy?
Oh gosh. Well, probably the same thing. I mean, I'm a digital man.
Yeah.
So I grew up with a PC. I can remember being like 4 or 5 years old and messing around with one. So,
Wow.
but
Yeah.
that's I don't know, toy.
Yeah.
The only toys I have, I play disc golf. So if you know what that is, it's throwing a plastic disc around, and that's what I do
You
with
mean
my
it's
boys.
it's a frisbee?
Frisbee golf is what people call it, but that is not the proper term. I don't care. But disc golf, yep. Have you
So,
not
oh,
heard
it's
of this?
called disc. How do you spell it? DISC
DISC, disc golf. Yeah, you throw it to a
GOL.
basket with
Okay.
chains, and
No, disc
and
golf.
it's like golf. Yeah, go look it up. It's an actual sport that is gaining a
Great.
lot of momentum.
No, I
So it's
love
fun.
it. Disc golf. What do you worry about when you go to bed at night?
Worry about? Hopefully nothing, so I can sleep. I don't worry about anything, honestly, Jerry. Part of my deal is I have not experienced the worst, but I've read and watched probably some of the worst, which is what part of the reason people should engage with literature is to have
Yeah.
vicarious experiences so they don't get too traumatized, but they can know what other people have gone through and then kind of know what it's like, but not. So I've experienced stuff and I guess I just don't worry. I mean, yeah, 2 days ago, I had my 16-year-old daughter in the car. She's learning to drive for the first time, her second time out. I was not nervous at all. I couldn't believe it. But even if we got in a
Nice.
wreck, I wouldn't worry about it. So I don't know. I just don't have any worries at the current moment. But again, that's happiness. Knock on wood, it will happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Now that I say that for sure.
That's another thing you said in I think one of your I mean, your pieces are great. I watched Man with the Movie Camera.
Oh yeah,
It was
yeah.
really good. But you said
Thanks.
in one of them, you said, we don't have cameras in the back of our head, or we don't have eyes in the back of our head. And
Yes.
with your daughter driving at this point, because Waymos have taken over our town, literally
Oh, really? Yeah.
driverless cars, and it's spooky for anybody to see a car with no driver. There's 27 cameras on one Waymo. So why would you ever get in a car with a human driving when you could have this machine drive you that has 27 cameras? What's
I
safer?
know.
And so that's to me is really because I probably will never take a Waymo, but I'm glad that they're safer. But they're
Okay.
go ahead.
This is a pet issue of mine. I am totally in favor of driverless cars, with one exception, which is a worry that there's a central node out there, be it government or corporation, that is going to take control of them and then lock you in them or something. But other than that, I mean, I think here I get to ask this question. So we, as professors, we BS a lot. What in 50 years are people going to be astonished about this period of time we took for granted? I think one of the things is people driving cars and all the casualties and deaths on the highway.
Yeah.
I think they're going to think that was nuts. Now,
Yeah.
I just think driverless cars are a thing because probably they'll be safer thanks to 27 cameras.
27 cameras.
That's amazing.
Here's what you said was
Which you won't be able to fix, by the way, when they break.
yeah. Well, the thing is that you said that really key words. So when I've surveyed people at my meetings for almost 2 years because they took over our town as a training ground. Like we're gonna use your town to train Waymos, and they didn't ask us. And I'm like, well, if you're doing that, you should take homeless people and elders to the hospital for free. You should be doing something to
totally.
give back to the community. But one guy finally says, yeah, I took a Waymo. I says, how was it? And he goes, well, it was good, but we got stuck in the middle of an intersection. And I call him. I said, we're stuck or the car stalled or something. And so he calls, and then he got a little panicky, and he went to get out, and he was locked in.
Oh,
and
no.
It was like, I took that and ran with that for a year. Yeah, they're really good, but they lock you in. But let me finish for a second.
People get on elevators and have no problem with that.
Right.
And some people fear the same thing.
That's what I said. We get locked in trains and airplanes. But I finally, after a year, I says, I better check this. And so I typed in, can you get locked in a Waymo? And of course, AI responded and says, no, you just say, and you can get out of them with your cell phone. You can. So I was just taking one person's thing. Now, I don't know the history of the whole thing, how many people got locked in and panicked. I'd say just bring a brick with you when you take your Waymo,
Yeah.
Okay, perfect lead in, Josh. McLuhan learned from the poet Ezra Pound that artists are the antenna of the race.
That's a great quote.
Yeah, they're broadcasting and detecting the hidden psychic effects of our inventions. So we might learn to cope with what we don't like about our inventions. So I asked you the question Marshall probed his whole career. Why do we ignore the hidden psychic effects of our inventions, even though the artists are broadcasting them to us?
Oh, what? I think daily life is too much for people. Look, a middle class American existence, it's really nice and historically, I don't have to deal with smallpox. However, I am inundated with paperwork and to-do lists that are absurd, thanks to insurance, etc., all the time. So for me to pay attention to mediums, like artistic mediums, are telling me something else. It's just hard enough to cope with life as it is. I'm only saying that trying to think about a normie, who everybody I know is a normie, a way of perceiving. I'd like to pay attention to the artist, but it's just hard to grasp things. And even then, when it's in art, it seems far off. Since science fiction, now we're having the AI revolution where people are ostensibly falling in love with their chatbots and whatnot. That was in science fiction for a long time.
Hello.
Why didn't we think about it and mitigate it and all that? But you mentioned 2001, and the HAL thing's just sitting there as a worry. But here we go, gung ho right ahead, and people are just using it without caring. So maybe art is just the thing that sits on the sidelines and yells at the playing field, but nobody pays attention, because when you're playing the game, you can't hear the crowd.
That is such a good metaphor. You're smart, because this guy told me, this musician, English teacher in New York, on my podcast, Chris Fuller, he's a Joycean too. He said, when I asked him the consciousness question, he said he read somewhere that consciousness is like a stowaway on a boat. And we think we're driving the boat, but really the stowaway is driving the boat.
Okay, so that's the neuroscience idea that came out in the 90s and 2000s. Tons of stuff on that science fiction. Yes, you are not in charge of yourself. Your brain is constructing yourself, and you think your will is in charge, but no. I don't know.
No, I agree with you, but I just like that using it as a metaphor to explain, because George Lakoff says, neuroscientist, linguist says, oh, we're only 80, we're operating 20%. And 80% of us operate subconsciously and unconsciously every day.
Oh, sure.
Well, for the last hour, but I think for the last hour we've been here, and I think we're both like 95% conscious, at least.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So discourse and artistic engagement and various creative actions engage the whole self. I think most of life is your conscious mind is turned off. I'm just driving my car. I'm mowing the lawn, whatever. I'm not really thinking, of course, breathing. I'm not thinking about anything, nor would I really probably want to. The unconscious takes over. But when we're doing this, which is higher order.
Yeah.
What's that?
we're on automatic pilot, you mean, kind
Oh,
of.
totally. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost all the time with everything, but
Yeah.
that is in a way an animal existence, which is fine, but not our capacity.
Josh, do artists have moral obligation?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're just saying the intent of the race. It's a very tricky subject, especially for in a graphic specific medium like movies. Everybody believes that artists can make a difference, or that let's just take film art can make a difference. The reason I say that is every movie ever made has a warning in front of it: graphic violence, nudity, you name it.
Yeah.
Disney warns you about animal violence or cultural taboos that are in the movie. So everybody thinks that art has an effect. And probably it does. I don't know as much as we might want it to. But an artist has a social obligation, yes, to other people, because it's inherently a social thing that they're doing, communicating. But how exactly that is a tough one though, because the artist has to describe reality, and sometimes reality or the world, reality, imagination, it's very nasty in some places, sometimes for sure.
Yeah, because you get in
is needed.
Yeah.
But
you
then
do
what are they encouraging? So
yeah.
It's
like Louis Buñuel in Los Olvidados, one of the greatest films ever, I think. He has street punks kicking and beating up a blind guy. It's like, what? Sure. You know, and then in Pasolini, come on, it goes farther. I mean, there's a lot of films that go real far, but I like how you shifted. This is the most important thing in my podcast. It's me and you versus the wording on the questions. So you slipped in changing moral obligation to social obligation.
Oh,
you addressed it. No, you addressed it, but it's a bigger thing. When I just say moral, it can include in social, because there's two things you evoked. Sidney Lumet. Films can't do diddly squat, but it ain't going to keep me from trying. Now, he made socially aware films. Yes. And I think he did. And I asked this really heavy poetry guy, can films do anything? He goes, yeah. If James Dean puts his cigarettes in his T-shirt right there, kids will start doing that. Yes. So that we know films can do stuff. And I mean, Battle of Algiers is the living proof. George Bush used it as a training film to suppress revolution, and the Black Panthers use it as a training film to make revolution. So that's a perfect example of, boy, it can do something. But the other one is Auden, the poet. The mystery of art is that we don't know if it activates or pacifies us. So, I have a lecture on how Sheila Nevins and PBS hijacked a revolution. So all the yuppies my age watched the revolution, the Weather Underground doc, which is very good, got nominated for Academy Award, Sam Green, my friend. And they can watch it on PBS and go, right on, I agree with all that. And then they don't do anything, it just pacifies them, Yeah. But, so we don't know if it can. In fact, I saw this woman at, of all places, the Mendocino Film Festival. She said, no, political activist films don't do anything. Something like Titanic, if it has a message or a moral or something to learn, those films will have the effect. But the ones that are like, I'm an agenda political film, might not. But then they might. This kid went up to John Jost. If you haven't seen his films, he's made a lot of films. They went up to him once and said, your film inspired me to join the Occupy movement. And John Jost went, don't blame me. Like he was mad that it did that. So anyways, you get into that because you do analyze film. Are you more afraid of new ideas or more afraid of old ideas?
Whoa. Is there such a thing as a new idea? Old idea modified? Yeah. Nothing new under the sun, supposedly. Which is, I don't totally think that's true, because I think we're discovering and developing stuff. So the
Yeah.
nuclear weapons are not exactly the cannons of old, let's say. So probably, I don't know, both. And
Yeah.
this is not it's not
It's both and yeah.
terrible ideas in the past. There's terrible new ideas, I'm sure.
Yeah. Can you conjure up your earliest memory ever or one of them?
Oh, this is a change in subject. Nah, I don't know. See, the thing about memory is how much of it is real.
Yeah. But
I have no idea.
do you think memory is more a curse or more a blessing?
Okay, so that's it. When I go to it, so I mentioned Gene Wolfe, a great writer. Everybody should try to read him, although he's very difficult. His books are better the second time, way better the second time than the first. He likes to play around with this. He's got a character in one book who can remember everything, which I think
Yeah.
is a real thing. And then he's got a character who remembers nothing, or like every single day has to write things down in order to remember what happened the previous day. It's sort of like a memento kind of deal. And I think it's the latter is more of a curse, because you don't know if you can't even tell what's real based on things that are written down from the previous day. Could you then understand what you meant? And probably not, because like you and me talking, there's a little slippage in meaning, and you interpret. So you're interpreting yourself. I think that, but memory is interpreting yourself too. It just feels like more real and more ingrained. So that's where it gets tricky for me. How much do I trust my memories? I don't have a very great personal memory, by the way.
Yeah.
So other people can remember a lot of things, maybe even everything.
Yeah. That's Joyce said in Finnegan's Wake, remember to forget. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to forget.
One hand clapping there for Joyce.
Yeah. Tell me someone within your immediate family who had an impact on you, and what was that impact?
Immediate family.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, it'd be everybody. That's a good question, because I can think of everybody offhand. Obviously my wife is the most important and have the immediate impact.
Okay, go with that. What's the thing you got the most from your wife?
She taught me that I'm crazy. I think everybody's delusional. I think we're all like, I'm doubting my memory, but I think everybody has delusions. They have these set beliefs, set perspectives. Obviously, it's helpful for survival to think that yours is the right one. I think that's part of it, at least, if not like ego, identity, structure stuff. But you meet up against somebody else who's like looking at the world way different than you in some areas, at least. And then you're like, is it me that's crazy, or is it her, or is it both of us?
Wow.
And one of my favorite books is Don Quixote, and the answer is everybody. Everybody.
Yeah. How many years?
To some degree, not like we're all in for the nut house, but some degree where we have our minds, brains are creating reality based on the sensory experience, and then whatever is already there internally. So that the modern metaphor is that we have a movie playing in our heads, and that's what we think reality is. Right?
Oh yeah.
Which
that's
we have different movies playing because we have had different sensory experiences and personal experiences and trauma and all that. So to butt up against someone who like a spouse or a partner is way different in some ways, should teach you that you are crazy in a good way as well as bad.
Yeah, that's McLuhan's great line. You can't prove you're sane unless you have discharge papers from a mental hospital. Isn't that a good line? But how many years have you been with your wife?
Oh, 2006. So there's that 19 plus going on 20.
Great. So now, how do you explain the longevity?
Is that long? The kids are working in a nursing home right now. The kids are working in a nursing home right now. Like, there are people who are like 60 years and married together.
I know, but I mean, does she have a job too, or does she just raise them? She raises the 4 kids, or?
Oh, now they're grown enough to be.
But are
Just to
there?
get
Do
it.
they have? Does she have a career too?
Yes, she's a art director for our small town here. So yes,
Oh,
she does.
cool.
Yeah, it
But
is
I
cool.
mean, just in general, how do you explain your longevity? 20 years. How
Um,
do you,
trying.
yeah,
I mean, to try. You either
yeah,
decide to try or not try, and it's a labor.
yeah,
Everything's a labor. Making art's a labor, but making a relationship okay, at least okay, is a labor. Either you do it or you don't.
yeah. Dude,
And
I asked this.
you can rely on shared values, but
Yeah.
that only gets you so far.
Yeah, I asked this Grateful Dead couple. I thought, they were stoned out hippies or something, and they were truly great people. And we were talking all about the Dead, and I said, "How long you guys been together?" They go, 30 years. I goes, "How do you explain your longevity?" And he looked at her and says, "Oh, she could answer better." And she goes, "Don't quit." And I was like,
Oh
wow.
yeah,
I thought
right.
that was really solid. Okay,
Yep.
now the same question, Josh, outside your immediate family, someone who had an impact on you, and what was that impact?
Oh my gosh. Uh, a person I know or a person who I don't
Oh, it
know.
doesn't matter. It can be no, it could be someone you looked up to and
uh,
that everybody knows or no one knows. Yeah.
um, right. So I don't know. There's too many people to count. I had some great experiences in graduate school. I mentioned Walt Whitman earlier. I work with the Walt Whitman, or one of the Walt Whitman scholars in the world, Ed Folsom, who is a consummate scholar, but he also wrote in such a way that it was for anybody. And the deft nature of scholarship or criticism to be able to write for the high level expert and then the ordinary person who knows nothing,
Yeah.
and to be able to do both at the same time is probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest
Yeah.
things to do, especially in criticism period. I guess I'm talking about literary criticism, film criticism, whatever. I don't know how to achieve it. I'm striving for that, but
Yeah.
I read his work, I read other people's. That's what I'm trying for. It's really hard to do. Really hard.
No, I did that once. I write real scattered and I send it to my friend. She worked for Houghton Mifflin for like 35 years, and she kind of goes through it and finds little things for me sometimes.
Yeah.
And she's reading it and to her husband, who's a scholar too. And Dylan goes, "Don't, that's Jerry's doing a postmodern approach. Don't change that." And she wrote, she had sent a really good kind of rewrite of my essay. And she says, "Jerry, you got to delete that. I don't want you to," because Dylan told me this. I says, "Are you kidding, Martha? You made my writing so much better. I'm gonna post both. I'm gonna post both of them." So at the end of her version, I put, "For the postmodern version of this article, hit this link."
Oh, I like that. Yes. Yes.
Were you raised a particular religion?
I was really okay. I'm a Christian. I was raised as one, but different tradition. So I grew up in 80s, 90s evangelicalism, and some of that is not to my taste. A little bit of it is. So, yes. But
Yeah.
since then, I have experienced all kinds of people from all over the world. So, actually, some of the things I'll tell you one more thing. Some of the things I'm getting, all the things I'm saying from is Werner Herzog. I forgot to bring him up. He is one of my absolute favorites.
Right.
Filmmaker, documentarian, obviously feature films. And so, yeah, I love his work in so many. He's one of the most curious people you're ever going to see, but he's doing stuff for all audiences. So I think ordinary people can watch his stuff and get a lot out of it, but also high level
Really
experts.
good.
So, yeah.
I was fortunate. I was in Ann Arbor in the mid 70s and I world premiere a Gary Worth of, I know, US premiere of a Gary Worth of Wrath of God. So New Yorker Films was showing it and they go, "Well, you can show it here, but it'll be for the New York premiere." And I goes, "Fine." So he came to campus and I got to hang out with him and talk to him. I've studied Herzog for years, but we had a good
known then? Was he known at that point, or what
no,
did you?
I mean, he was just part of the German New Wave. It was Herzog,
Yeah.
Fassbinder, and Wim Wenders,
Yeah.
and they were just breaking. I mean, that was just when Aguirre broke in the mid 70s.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, he was a little known on like college campuses, but he vast incredible filmmaker indeed. We
Yeah.
we did a whole podcast salon on him once, and it was really fun.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you pray?
Okay. Yes. Okay. Here's an interesting one. I went to a Jewish professor who said all of life is a prayer.
Yeah.
So, what in the world is prayer? Is it me talking silently to God or the transcendent being?
Yeah.
Or is it more than that? I think it's definitely the first, but
Yeah.
is life, is our actions prayers? Or
Yeah.
something as making art I don't know. It
Yeah.
seems
No,
like
it's fun.
everything is communication to some extent. So
Yeah, it's a
perhaps
fun
I like that idea.
it's a fun question, Josh, because most people check out of being religious and they go, now
Yeah.
I'm spiritual. And some people go, no, I still practice it. That's fine. And then when I say, do you pray? They're like, because it's so like, oh, their organized religion has this like stigma now, kind of, but a lot of people still do it. And they'll go, well, one person said that's too personal. I'm like, wow. Another person said, do you pray? And she goes, yeah, for parking spaces. But it is, saying life is a prayer is a beautiful thing, I think. So if God does exist, what would you like God to say to you after you die?
Oh man. Enjoy the next stage, whatever that is.
That's nice.
I think I think there is a next stage that is okay. I'm a video gamer. I like video games. It's leveling up.
Yeah.
We're here to practice probably morality, and that is helpful to us, and then to level up for whatever tasks are next.
Yeah.
Wherever that is, whenever that is. And
great.
Hopefully it's more enjoyable than the suffering that goes on here.
Yeah. Well, I have a whole page on suffering jokes, but we won't go into that yet. But here's the thing. What you said evoked two things. Most people, what do you want God to say to you? They go, you did a good job. It's like, how boring. Everybody has to say you want God to say that. It's all right. It doesn't matter what they say. It's a stupid question, but it was beautiful. You said, hey, enjoy the next stage. And that Paul Krasner said, I only believe in reincarnation in one of my past lives. Okay.
I like that one.
Do evil people exist, or does evil use people as a vehicle?
Oh no, man, you're theological. I didn't realize this. How? Yeah. Yeah. I think the Solzhenitsyn quote, "The battle of good and evil is in everybody's heart," like tears the heart apart. Like it's in you the capacity to do monstrous things. Yeah, evil things inherent.
Now, who did you say that was from?
Solzhenitsyn, Alexander Solzhenitsyn.
Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Okay.
The line between good and evil goes through everyone's heart. It's something close to that.
Yeah, I got you. Good.
I don't think evil is it could be an external being, demons, whatever exists out there. Fine, but the great battle is within.
Yeah.
I think people only have to look within to know that. The desires, the temptations to do stuff, the things that you've done in your life that you regret or feel guilty about, etc.
That's what most people
exist, and that happens. Yeah.
I like that because a lot of people say everybody's capable of evil. But the real hidden question, Josh, is how do you advise someone to deal with an enemy? And that's like Alan Watts says,
enemy.
Enemy. Yeah. If Alan Watts says, if you acknowledge your enemy, you empower them. Coppola stole from the mob and the samurais. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. JFK said, forgive your enemy, but don't forget their name. And Fellini says, I need it. Yeah. And so
what does Fellini say? What did you say?
Fellini says, I need an enemy. And go to your guy. You know what Walt Whitman says? I no doubt deserve my enemies. So it's a lot of thoughts. The basic question is, how do you advise someone to deal with an enemy, like your kids being bullied? What do you say? But first, how would you respond to Alan Watts? If you acknowledge your enemy, you empower them.
I can agree with your enemy's framework. So, however they're framing
Yeah.
an issue,
Yeah.
a popular contemporary thing to say is, they're the frame they're putting things in. I think that's what I would deny or try to get out of, and that's very hard to do. It takes a lot of training, at least for me. But the love your enemy statement is very difficult. I think I'm tempted towards revenge, and a silent, subtle, cold revenge
Yeah.
is what I would like to do.
Yeah.
Or ignoring, just leaving the situation behind. My wife is way more gracious. She does get enemies from time to time, even so she's so sweet. And she tries to make up. She tries to make amends, which is, God bless her, but that's really hard to do, in my opinion.
Well, it also it's to extend this. Nassim Taleb said games were created to give non-heroes the illusion of winning. In real life, we don't know who wins or loses, but we can tell who a hero is. Gregory Bateson says if the criminal gets caught, does he go, whoa, my criminal skills weren't up to snuff that day? Or does he go, oh, I did something morally and socially wrong? So again, it's a few prompts, but the basic question is, does punishment work? What do we do? This word accountability. What do we do about this rehabilitation? But does punishment work?
Well, what are you trying to punish and win? Personally, probably not too much. Socially, governmentally, it's almost unavoidable, unfortunately. Have you ever run into psychopaths in your life? Surely you have, right? Or people you suspect.
Dude, I hang out on the Venice boardwalk, man. My wife has a great song. It's called "Everybody's Normal in Venice." So my big thing is who invented mental illness? In the old days they called that person the shaman. Now, but it is, if someone's doing harm to other people because they're not together, you're going to leave them on the street? You might have to put them in a jail or something. How do you
exile's the old way? Kick them out.
I mean, that's what they do in LA. They take the homeless people in downtown LA and drive them to Venice.
Yeah,
it's like, here, get out here.
It sounds like your town's a dumping ground for everything. Taxis and the homeless. What else?
Yeah, well, no, dude, we can get into it if we get into movies. How about Touch of Evil? How about Agnes Varda? Touch of Evil, man. I know the whole history of that movie being made here. How about Charlie Chaplin's first film, Kid Auto Races, right here in Venice?
Really?
We have a deep movie history. I talk about a lot. But I asked for 90 minutes. Can you go a little longer, Josh, now, or you got to get going?
Sure.
Okay. We'll go a little longer and get into movies, and then I think I already brainwashed you into doing a part 2 somewhere down the line, so we can really get the deep dive into movies.
Although all this great obscure art house or great stuff that I do not know entirely. I'm a generalist. I know like a little of this, a little of that. I put it all together.
But yeah, but I mean the thing is that you do a lot of contemporary films on your podcast, but then I find Man with the Movie Camera for an hour. That's really good because people don't realize how important. And then I think you dropped Chris Marker's name in there. Have you ever seen Sans Soleil by Chris Marker?
I have. I don't remember it very well offhand, but I know.
Anyways, but here's the next question. We did that. Okay. And it fits perfectly into James Joyce was the first projectionist in Dublin 100 years ago. At Ulta Cinema, he basically checked out. He said, this is stupid. Why should I go inside a building and see a movie of a tree when I can go outside and see a real tree? Glad you're laughing. Years later, Faulkner said sometimes the best fiction is more true than journalism. Why do we have to recreate things in order to get them? Why do we have to go to a theatrical play of people acting out life? Why don't we just live life?
Oh, well, you could. That's not how a lot of us are wired. If I want to go back to nature and nurture, I mean, we need to hear the story or see the theatrical depiction, you want to go all the way back to the most quote unquote primitive times, I'm sure there was dance, theater, and
Yeah.
artwork
Yeah.
recreating things, which is imaginative. So there's that mental hallucinatory thing, whatever that is, and the intuition combined with reality. And that's who we are as both internal and external beings. So I think a movie is a hallucinatory experience, or the
Yeah.
attempt at perhaps mass hallucination, which sounds nasty and probably has been used for nasty purposes, propaganda wise, but it's a great, first of all, social cohesion device. Obviously, the masses of love movies, probably the most popular art form yet, in terms of the number of people who love it. And I think that a movie is, it's not to make you a better person, it's to enrich your comprehension of anything that exists.
Yeah.
Seeing a tree on screen is a completely different experience than real life, because you're not only seeing the tree, you're seeing it next to, before and after other things. And I said, we're meaning making machines. The cut in a movie, movies don't have to have a cut, but it's one of the most important technical devices that they have. Obviously connects unlike things. Movies are inherently metaphors when you put two pictures together, one after the other, because you're going to do the thing where like that thing came after that thing. How do they connect?
Yeah.
I think most people will do that with a movie for sure, trying to make sense out of two pictures put together. And then you just do that with probably several thousand per movie. And it's a great exercise for anybody. I don't know why Joyce was a fuddy-duddy at the time, was he?
Yeah. It's kind of bullshitty, because sometimes Joyce will go, "He never said that. I don't know where I read it." And then one guy says, "No, you should say he allegedly checked out," because really the Joyceans say he checked out because it failed financially. They were showing, it was showing Italian films and no one was going to them. Whatever, but it really is more emphasized on Faulkner saying, why can fiction be more true than journalism? I mean, and then now we've the hybrid of the docs. Now all the docs are like way over. They're not like Frederick Wiseman anymore. I mean, docs are more like we'll get into that. I want to talk about docs more. Fly in the soup than fly on the wall. It's not observational. Right. But one thing is, I like to ask people, what is the function of cinema? I'm not going to ask you that now, but I'm going to tell you, because I like you saying enrich your comprehension. That's what cinema can do. It can enrich. So I was on the boardwalk. I see these people all the time on the boardwalk, and I can just zoom up to them on my bike and go, "Dude, can I ask you a quick question?" And it was Pedro. How do you pronounce his last name? The famous Brazilian filmmaker, Pedro Almodovar.
Almodovar?
Yeah, whatever his name. Yeah. I went up to him and said, "So what's the function of cinema?" And he laughed, and we had a great talk for like 15 minutes. And then his handler goes, "That's enough. Get away." But in the thing you said about editing in this book, this is, I mean, it's just a throwaway book that changed my life. 30 directors on the Epiphanies in the Dark. It's like, okay, tell us one movie that changed your life. And in there it said, I think, I don't know who said it, Bogdanovich or Richard Linklater said, Howard Hawks said, always cut on a movement so they don't know that was an edit, so it's all in, what was the tipping point for you to pursue literature and then for you to pursue being a film person? Those two tipping points. Like, what are you studying in high school? Do you have your career in mind yet? Where was that tipping point where you go, okay, where did you go to, what was the tipping point to go into lit?
I'll keep this brief. It's hard to do. So I was great in math and science in high school. I thought I was going to be an engineer. Went to an engineering university, pretty big one, Purdue. So there I took a class on nuclear weapons and international relations, and it was my first. It was not a political science course; it was a philosophy course. It turned out. First introduction to Kierkegaard, Nietzsche, etc. I never heard of these people, so I started reading them on my own for fun. So fast forward, I was disenchanted with engineering. I mean, what was I going to do with it? To make money? So I switched my major, went to a different university. They did not have philosophy; they had English as a major. So I thought, well, that's just as good as philosophy. Because of like Dostoevsky's Brothers Karamazov. I had read that, and I thought that was fascinating. So English is the more fun version of philosophy, or literary studies, let's put it that way. So that's how I got into it. But
did you switch colleges then? Did you go from Purdue to another one?
Indiana.
Then you went to Indiana U?
Yeah. And then, I mean, I kept going because I was absolutely fascinated by the Romantics, British and American. I mean, probably have said a lot about them here indirectly. I'm not mentioning anybody, but I just loved to read those. So then I just kept going, and I got many degrees and got a job, and the path was so clear. It was unbelievable for me.
You mean you got a job? You got a job teaching literature?
Got master's, doctorate, got a job right before I got my doctorate, which is extremely unusual these days.
But you were teaching what literature? You were teaching the Romantics to college kids?
I am an early Americanist by my degree. And I'm sort of a historicist, so I like how you draw out literary meanings or meanings out of literature from historical context. That's really what I'm trying to do really well. But because I went to a small college, that's where I work now, and they gave me a film class. If you like movies, go teach movies.
So you still teach literature? That's your main teaching?
Totally.
So you mean film is a side?
Film is one of the many things I teach, but online I am teaching film all the time. It's basically what I do on Letterboxd and YouTube and so on. That's what I talk about all the time.
Right. But you don't do any podcasts on literature?
Not yet. I don't have the time. I need my 4 kids to get out of the house and be an empty nester, and then I might have a little more time. Yes, but I. So
did you grow up watching? Did you? Oh, I know the question I really want to ask you. What was the first movie that had an impact on you? Director or film title? And what medium did you see it at? On on a cable or VHS or DVD, or in a drive-in or in a movie theater?
Oh,
now just one early
one. Quickly, I definitely remember watching Return of the Jedi. So I'm of the Star Wars era, the original trilogy. Now it's this gigantic money-making franchise. But my mother says that every time we went to the rental store, I wanted to watch The Never-Ending Story. Do you know that or not?
Oh yeah, I know that.
But the movie, so I must have seen that a million times. But eventually I went out to read the book, which is a fantastic. Michael Ende is a fantastic German writer in so many ways. So the book is way better, but I think I started that way. But my images of movies are video stores. So
video store, what? VHS?
You'll remember these, but Gen Z does not know this. So a Blockbuster type deal where you could just visually see everything on a wall. And of course, all the covers and so on. It's like you're surrounded and enveloped by film, an experience sadly we do not have, because you can just, it's like with people love vinyl these days because it's big and you can touch it, right? That's part of this experience. I wish you could do that with movies, because it is part of the movie going experience, whether at the theater, the ticket handling and going in and the seats and all that, or the VHS stores, later VHS DVD stuff. So I just remember the library, public library near me, having all these shelves of movies and then picking them up and looking at what they were and trying to see if I wanted to watch them. So I would probably watch Lawrence of Arabia when I was 10 years old and didn't have a clue, and Hitchcock and all these kinds of movies. What was I doing? But I always loved movies my entire life.
That's cool. No, that gave me a good idea, and I appreciate that. Let's do you want to go another 10 minutes? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, because we could just dab into this, and then we'll
Yeah.
really go deep dive into movies in the next one. So, a screenwriting teacher told me a great film is when you can clearly see the intention of the maker. Kubrick
Mm,
says the opposite. Great film is when you can clearly not see the intention of the maker. Let's go. Because do you
ooh.
write books for your literature degree? Do you write
Right.
books?
I have dissertation and I have a book of movie reviews I've put out there.
Right.
Yeah.
You put, so let's stay on movies.
Yeah.
Or your podcast, because that's your kind of art form that you can be creative in.
Yeah. Right.
And you do a great job editing and talking, and they're very crystal clear. What
Thanks.
role does intention play in your creative process being a podcaster?
Oh my gosh. I have no intention whatsoever. I'm going to say that straight out. My intention is, I said fun so many times, but I need to enjoy myself.
Oh, that's
And
good.
I love talking about the stuff. And of course, with a university or school environment, you've got a captive audience that is
Yeah,
not good most of the time because
yeah,
many of them don't want to be there. So
yeah,
it does take a toll on some people, including me. Like, I wish I had people I could talk to. I also live in the middle of nowhere. So having the video format and having people I can talk to online about things they love and I love is the benefit of all that.
yeah,
If that makes, but I don't have an intent. Like, what are you going to learn from my stuff? Whatever you can learn. So here's the bunch of stuff and here's my opinion. But mostly what I'm doing, I think, is trying to tell people why I like or don't like something. And the framework for the why I don't is the thing that's, I think, interesting for any reader or viewer who
yeah,
doesn't need to agree with me for any reason, but I have my frameworks for watching or reading, and I
yeah,
try to articulate those to some extent. And there are other frameworks by which you can see or watch or experience a movie. So people should develop their own. Hopefully, what I'm doing is provoking people to think critically or feel critically, both
yeah.
about artwork, which is any film whatsoever.
Yeah, that's really good because I just gave a lecture on Zappa the other day, and I said
Oh,
he helped us learn how to be critical thinkers. And
yes.
that's and the thing is, Josh, what I like you said is, what's your intention? To have fun. And by the way, I want to help you
Sure.
learn about framework. You know that. Have you studied George Lakoff and framing? You know the neuro.
I know the name. I've not studied him. Mhm.
Anyways, it's that framing word is great, and then be
Yeah.
critical thinker. And so, but I love it when you start off, go, I have no intention, but by the way, and you articulate it. So, Duchamp said there's no art without an audience. How much are you thinking of your viewer when you're making your podcast?
Oh gosh. Okay, my image is I have three people in my head, and if anybody else is part of is like one of those people or like a couple of those people, then they're probably going to enjoy or get something out of it. So I have a friend who's an ancient historian. He's the same age as me. He lives one block away. I
Yeah.
have, somebody like my mom is another one who has no, I'm not insulting her, but like she doesn't have a deep knowledge of cinema. She's not a
Yeah.
cinephile. She likes movies. She
Yeah.
probably watches anything that seems good. And then I have like um an old professor of mine. And I have several of those I could conjure up. So if I have those three people, I'm trying to talk to all of them at
Right.
once and kidding them all at once. Um, and trying to explain something or show my enjoyment of something,
That's
then
good.
so again, I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to hit the sort of almost expert level, if not expert level, and then a bunch of normal people who are just watching
Yeah.
casually on the weekend, and hopefully I'm for both or something in between, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm
No,
trying
that's
to
good.
do. It's hard to do too, in my
It's hard
opinion.
to do. But do you actually send a rough cut to anybody, or you just make it? You don't show it to your wife or anybody. You just
Hit
make it
publish. Oh,
and
I hate editing. I'll lightly edit stuff. I write stuff and then I hit publish and that's about it.
but it
Yep.
seems as though you're not reading it. Are you reading it?
Oh, I don't on camera. I
Yeah.
never script anything.
That's all just
Everything I do is like me talking off the top of my head. Yes.
right, but you don't take notes at all? before.
If I watch a movie, I will take notes, but it's usually just gibberish. I mean,
Right.
This is so that's all I've got usually
Yeah.
is a little notes here or there, but nothing organized. I want it to feel so. You might like this or not, I don't know. Video is an emotional medium, I think, first and foremost.
Yeah.
I want it to feel authentic. I don't love scripted stuff is fine, but I don't love it when people feel inauthentic, whatever that means.
Yeah.
And so I try to come across as something that somebody who is just I'm trying to talk to you as if we're having a conversation. I'm just shooting from the hip, as it were.
Yeah.
Just like I'm doing now, by the way.
No, Josh, it's been amazing because it's really been fun. And I have one more, but I'll tell you, I worked for George Carlin a little, and we got a flyer. We got a flyer in the mail once, and it said, "I'm trying to get more control over my spontaneity." So, I give this like 20-minute lecture kind of rant on Zappa before this great band called Stinkfoot Orchestra, 14-piece band plays Zappa,
I've heard of that.
rock club, and nobody wants to see a guy talk for 20 minutes. So it's sort of like half comedy, but I read 12 pages of notes and I hold them there and read it, but I'm talking to the audience, trying to project well. And everybody goes, "That was great." My one friend goes, "Dude, you got to hold your notes lower because we don't see your face." And people have said to me, "You got to memorize it. You can't write." I said, "I'm not going to memorize 20 minutes of fucking shit. I don't have that ability." So I like it when it's spontaneous. And that's one of the problems about the podcast is when this ends, YouTube will grab 2 thumbnails. And, or we'll grab one thumbnail and put it up. And I don't even know how to change it. I don't care. And sometimes it's me like this, looking away. And it's like the worst time. It's the worst because it's like, dude, you don't even pay attention. And, I sit there and take 4 pages of notes during each one. So a lot of times I'm taking my head down to write my notes, and people go, "Why don't you pay attention to your guest? They're talking." So it's like my head shifting shit, the viewer doesn't, because the pro people, they don't look away. And
you should tell them about Mary Jane Schultz on multiple screens. That's exactly what you're doing.
I tried to, but one other thing. Well, that's good. Tell them about Mary Jane. She's in heaven right now. She's creaming her jeans over that one. They "I'm still alive. You'll never die." But it's like, this is one thing I want before the last question. I'll tell you is what Joyce did with Finnegan's Wake was it's a sort of a joke, but Joyce invented the internet and disguised it as a book. But you can put in the word internet, you can put anything. He disguised Zoom and disguised as a book, or whatever new technology break. He invented TikTok and disguised it as a book. It is someday read a page of Finnegan's Wake out loud with a group of people, not by yourself, out loud with a group of people, and see what it does to everybody. Just say, "How'd that make you feel?" And it is amazing because now, because of psychedelics now psychedelics are legal and they use it for treatment. Now I've changed it to Joyce invented blotter acid and disguised it as a book. So, I mean, here's the last question, and it comes out of the McLuhan. What McLuhan learned from Joyce. He said this in Portrait, and really McLuhan got it from Joyce and Walt Whitman, that everything we invent extends some humanness. So knife and fork extends our teeth. Shutter in a camera or a film projector extends our eyelid. And even maybe religion or philosophy extends consciousness. There's no right or wrong answer. 2 things. What do movies extend? What humanness? And then what humanness does the podcast extend for you?
Whoa.
And
Good.
McLuhan, just to suss it out a little, McLuhan used the word human sensoriums or human senses, but I like to more use it say the word humanness, because it doesn't have to be tangible. When I say knife and fork extends your teeth, that's tangible. But there's things extends that aren't tangible, that there's no right or wrong answers, but just your hunch or guess. What do movies extend? What humanness?
Oh, yeah. Oof. The internal sense of self, I think.
Yeah.
Imagination plus emotion, it's sort of movies are dream machines. People said that
Yeah.
many times. It's probably right, because like both the internal stuff that we've got going on and the external sense data we've got coming in, it's what a movie is sort of combining or making. I think an alien probably could get a sense of what we are by watching some of our movies. I don't know which ones. I'm not sure which ones. I'm not going to say which, but get a sense of what a human perceives.
Yeah.
And how it's sensed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. But the podcast or YouTube channel, like that's an interesting. I've never thought about that. It's like what I would like to think it's an extension of not just critical thinking, but the many voices that are sort of make up me. If I can, I am a compilation of the voices that have sort of helped form and shape me, plus my own sense of self, whatever that is. So that's probably what it is to some extent.
That's really good, Josh, because who said I contain multitudes? Is that Whitman?
Right.
There you go. Your Whitman professor really, because that's what you're saying. I contain, and I was just freaked when DVDs came out. My friends go, Jerry, you're gonna love, man. They have the filmmaker talking on these extra tracks. I goes, I have enough time I don't even have enough time to watch the film. Why would I watch a commentary track? Now I'll get it. I get the DVDs from the library. Now I skip the movie and just watch the commentary track. I mean, sometimes. I mean, you know the history of these better. Someone told me the greatest thing is Coppola's commentary track on Godfather 2. Have you ever heard that?
I don't know that one. I'm tempted not ever to hear it, because once you hear that stuff, it's like that's the way to watch the movie, or that's the way to think about it.
It ruins the movie for you.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. Todd Hayes Bob Dylan film called I'm Not There.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That when I heard that commentary track, I said, dude, this is how you experience Finnegan's Wake. That's a good capture of Finnegan's Wake, listening to that. But again, it ruins the movie. It's like the artist's job isn't like Stan Brakhage, who's the known experimental filmmaker. He said, don't talk about your work. Let the work speak for yourself. Then he would talk. Then he would talk for 2 hours. and you'll love this. That dude came out of Gertrude Stein. He came out of literature. So this is a lot where we could go into part 2, but just close out part 1. It's really been fun, Josh. I appreciate your time and energy.
Fun for me too. Thank you.
Yeah, this is McLuhan. They go, what do movies extend? He goes, the foot, because you're traveling. And that is so funny, because most people go, what do movies extend? Well, the obvious is your eye or memory. Yeah. But, yours was much deeper, because I have a great question we'll start part 2 with, is about identity.
Oh, sure.
So Josh, really been a fun time, and I appreciate your time and energy.
Thank you.
Yeah, really, thank you. And even though I'm going to hit the end broadcast button now, I hope this never ends and we can keep talking forever and ever.
Maybe we will.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, thank you. See you later.
Okay, see you. Thanks again.